Okay, today we're going to do the video how to fit the rear mud flaps on the Evoque. Now this is the dynamic model, also referred to as the sport model. So this is not for the Pure and the Prestige. That's a different kit, so we'll do a video for that as well. So this is basically the mud flap, and what it's going to do, it's going to fit on here on the bottom corner and stop the mud splashing up. Right, so this is the kit we've got. So this video is actually how to fit the genuine kit as supplied by Land Rover. So you've got the fittings there and the instructions, and I think the tools you're going to need are a drill. We've got this little fork tool for removing the trim clips and a little stubby screwdriver. So right, let me pass over to Tom to hold the camera and we'll make a start. So basically the first thing to do is you need to remove this bit of unpainted plastic here, okay, and that's basically held on with 3 fittings. Now it's going to be a bit hard for you guys to see, but basically there's one here, okay, and this is one of these plastic push fittings, okay, and then there's a second fitting here which is a screw, okay, and then the third fitting is one of the plastic ones underneath. We'll have a look at that later when I go under and do it. So right, to start with then we're going to do this top plastic fitting. Now I've had these out already. Now they should in theory unscrew with a Phillips head, but we've tried and failed to do it. So we're using this trim removing tool that we've got on the website, and basically if you push it up behind the thing here and then you pull this out, okay, it'll pull it out. Now I'll just show you the fitting. So you can see we've tried to undo the head, and in theory when you undo the middle it should spin out, but these just don't seem to. But basically we've just prized them out, and then when you reinsert them, obviously when you just push that in and it forces those apart. So we've got one of those, okay. Now the next screw we've loosened already for this video. You don't need to take the wheel off. If you've got like a little ratchet screwdriver set, you can get in here, or a cranked screwdriver like so, and undo this one, okay, and that's just a self-tapping screw. This is a different type of fitting. It's actually a proper screw, not one of those plastic rivet types, okay. So if we have a look at that, so it's a self-tapping screw with integral washer and just a cross head, okay. So that's the second fitting. Alright, the third fitting, if I just grab the camera and come underneath and show you. So obviously if you've got the dynamic, you've got these exhausts, so it's just down underneath here. And again what we use our forked tool to get in. Now it's actually easier to come in from the back side over here, and we'll get in the whole fitting. Right, I'm gonna have Tom, can you grab the camera so I can get in underneath? Right, so if you come in from this side and you get underneath the, you need to get between, that's it, between the lip of that, and then just pull out the, there you go. Okay, that plinged out. So again, it's the same type of fitting there as we've seen before with this removable centre. Okay, so with those 3 fittings out, so that's the 3 fittings that we've taken out, we now need to pull this panel off. Now it's held on with a couple of spring clips, so basically if you just get it and give it a pull, okay, and there's another spring fitting at the top here. Okay, right, so what you've got is these 2 spring clips. We've just broke that one there. They should come out easier than that. You've got 1, 2 spring clips there, and the bit at the top. So that comes out. Now what you need to do, actually, it doesn't matter if you've broken the spring clip, because these are thrown away. You don't use those. But the next job we need to do, okay, because of the way the mud flaps fit, there's some bolts that pass through these. So what actually happens, if I grab this and show you, okay, so it's like so on the car, what this is going to do is it's going to fit in here, and this bolt fitting here, okay, it's covered with a protective cap. You just throw that away. But this is going to bolt through. Now it's designed such that if you drill through here, this bolt will come through. And likewise there's another bolt to pass through here. So what we're going to do is get a drill. We're using a 7mm drill here, okay? And what we're going to do is drill through, but you need to do it right up in where the circle is, like so. Do it over a piece of wood. Okay. Okay, so that'll give you a hole here, and then do the second hole here. Okay, so you can see there we've got the 2 holes, and then just to show you again, when you go to bolt that up, then that will push in through there. Okay, and the second one will line up here, which lines up with the hole on the inside. Okay, so I'll just get the fittings and we'll show you how to bolt that back up. Okay, so we've got the 2 parts. This is the bit of trim we removed, and this is the mud flap. Now before we go any further, we need to cut this little bit off. So carefully use a Stanley knife, it's quite soft rubber. Just cut that little wedge off, and then we're going to use that later. So don't lose that, that's actually a spacer we're going to use later. Okay, right, now we need to fit this back on the car first. Now in here, to stop this squashing, we've got to put 3 spacers. So we've got a load of spacers that came with the kit, and they reckon we can squeeze 3 of these in between here. Now I'm gonna say that Land Rover are a bit optimistic at you being able to get 3 in there. I think we might get 3 in. Yeah, no, they sink in once you've got them in. There's a little recess. That's it. Oh, that's turbo, yep. Let me just use this to... There's no chance of them falling out. Right then. So make sure you've got the hole through there. And then do the same. So that first one drops in, actually. They make that tight enough, but alright then. I'm going to use the bolt a little bit there just to pull that back in and try and get those lined up. That's it. Okay. So yeah, so just check we can get the bolt through there. That's fine. Okay. Right. So we've got that through there. Now the next thing we need to do before we can refit this on the car is fit one of these little spring clips, okay? So this is the panel off the car. We've got the 3 washers there, and now this bottom one, so it needs to go like so. So when it goes back on the car, and this is to form a captive nut here. So slip it on from this end. Okay, now that should line up now. Okay, so that is now ready to go on the car. Now Land Rover do suggest using another one of these on and removing the little metal clip that the self-tapper goes to there, but I really can't see the point of that, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, so right, what we need to do, so the trick to putting this on the car is these 2 tabs here. We've got these 2 plastic spikes. We've got to make sure we line up. Okay, it's a little bit tricky, this one, but not too bad. Let me see if I can get those under the top first. Get that top spike in. Okay, and try and right, and at the bottom here, this bottom lip has got to go under that spoiler, but you've got to try and get that middle pin lined up with the hole as well. Okay, so that's that roughly. It'll all bolt up together nicely when we get it all together. Right, so now we've got all the captive nuts in place. Right. We've now got to get this through. Okay, and when we've got it through, we're going to put a nut on the other end, and we're also going to reuse this little washer that we cut off the bottom earlier. Okay, so let me try and get this lined up. So it goes through the hole, then it's going to pass through those metal spacers we've got in there. Okay, now if we pull back this inner liner, we should be able to see it coming through the other side. I'll just get that lined up. Okay, right. Now you might not be able to see this. Let's have a go, see what you can see behind there. Probably nothing, but I can feel the screw coming through the back. So I'm gonna put this spacer in, but I'm just gonna check the instructions a second and see exactly which way round it goes. So let's just stop there a minute. Okay, yeah, so we just checked the instructions. So the wide part of the wedge goes towards your tyre, okay, like so. And then we can put this little, just have a look at the nut here. So we're going to put this nut here with the washer that came in the kit on there. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so we'll just tighten, get a spanner there and tighten that nut at the back there. Okay, now you can tell when it's tight because your rubber wedge will grip up. Okay, so we've just tightened that one there. Okay, so that's the top. Right, now the next one to do, just zoom out a bit, Tom, so they can see where it is. So we've got a nut under here, okay. So basically we've got the bolt, and we've put a washer, we've put one of these metal spacers on, okay. And then we're going to pass that through there. So it's going to go through the metal spacers, and then it's going to go through the hole, through the metal space. Okay, and then push that through so you can see that come through the other side. So use one of our nuts again with the heads formed on them. Okay, so do that up finger tight. Okay, when you're happy with that, get your 10mm spanner again on the back. Okay, and then just, I'll be easy with the open end. So again, we've done this, we could have done it on the ramp, which may have been a bit easier for you guys to see what's happening, but we wanted to show you don't need to jack your car up, you don't need to take the wheels off. There's plenty of room, clearance to do that on your drive. Okay, right, and when you're happy that's tight, okay, what we need to do then is where we folded this trim back, we now need to make sure we get this trim in the right position. So the trim needs to be behind all of this. So pop all this behind, okay. And we've got to do it in this order because as we pop it behind, what we're trying to do is line up down here. If you look down here, we're trying to line up this with that. Okay, so let me just make sure we got all that in position. There you go. Right, and then what we're going to do is replace it with the self-tapper that we took out. Okay, so let's get under here. Okay, so on this bottom one we've got to get it, so I've got it here, you should be able to see the 3 layers. So you've got the mud flap, the inner panel, and then you've got the inner liner. So we need to just get those 3 lined up and get that self-tapper through there, through them all. Okay, so that's got it. Okay, so I'll just get a screwdriver. Okay, and when you've got that in place, I've come from the rear with the screwdriver here because you get a little better angle on it. I've got a long screwdriver from the back. Okay, that's that. Right, finally the last bit we need to do is to put one of these bolts in. So this is the final one, and so these are Torx. I'll just check what Torx they are now. Okay, yeah, so we've checked it's a T30, so it's a T30 bit you need to screw that in. So we've got a driver. So now it's going to be underneath. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, so we're at the back of the car again, and it's the one going up here. It should go in. Alright, and then we just tighten that one up there. Okay, right, and then right, so that's the job done now. We've got that screwed in. So that screws into that little cage now. Okay, so we fitted that bottom screw. The next job is we need to fit this little plastic push fitting in. Now I've got to get this in the right hole because one of them's the blank. So it's the one on the inside here. So this one here, I don't know if you can see, well that's left blank. It's the one that's just underneath that hexagonal bolt there, push that in, and then push the fitting in, and that's the job finished then. So if I just scan back a little bit, that's a neat job. That fits on nicely, and will keep the back of your car a bit cleaner hopefully. Should take about 20 minutes aside to fit those, so good luck with that.